Welcome to Dev Ready Podcast, where we're helping non-techs build better tech. Today, we're joined by Carmen Williams. She is the co-founder of Global Teams. They have over 100 VAs in the Philippines and support many businesses in terms of how they get more efficient with offshore teams. Carmen, thank you for joining us. It's always fascinating to learn how we might do business differently, and definitely this is an area that's been pretty hot over the last 3-4 years, probably grew significantly during COVID, I would imagine, as we became more comfortable with working with teams that were in a remote environment and not within our office. Carmen, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolute pleasure, Andrew.
Now, before we get into things, tell me a bit about your background and how did you end up in the world of global teams? Where did it all come from?
Well, like all good businesses, or not all, the business started by accident. So I was doing healthcare consulting, running my own business, and I just grew my own virtual assistant team. And then I had some people, other business owners say, hey, Carmen, it's working for you. I've tried it before myself and it didn't work. Could you help us? And so I looked at my business partner and we and thought, we might distract us, or they're a good client, we'll do it for them. And then before we knew it, like more people started coming to us. And so it's distracted us so much. It's now our primary business. And we've got over 100 people in the Philippines supporting business owners all around the world, but primarily in Australia.
Like many businesses and great ideas, sometimes we stumble across them, and it's listening to our customers. That's a pivotal piece there.
Yeah.
Sometimes our customers are the best part of our business, right?
Yeah.
So as we're looking to build new technology, look at business models, listen to customers, that's a key thing. How long has that taken to get to 100 VAs?
So Global Teams has been around for 4 years now, and I can confidently say that 6 years ago I didn't even know what a virtual assistant was. So it's been quite a trajectory, but I've enjoyed it all because I get to meet awesome business owners and awesome people in the Philippines and get them working really well together. So it's
brilliant.
Quite fun.
So for the people that don't know what a VA is, can you describe that for us? What's a virtual assistant?
Yeah. So a virtual assistant is a really smart person. In our case, it's in the Philippines. I know you have a tech team in Nepal as well. And so our virtual assistants, almost all of them have tertiary qualifications. They really value these jobs. They're dedicated and they want to work with nice business owners and be able to share their skills. So our team have got weird and wonderful backgrounds. Like as I shared with you before we went live, I'm a scientist. Well, I've got team members that are mathematicians and lawyers and chemical engineers. And so we're all using our transferable skills in a different setting. So what it means for business owners is that you've got access to super intelligent people to support you in your business. Administration, social media marketing, customer service, virtual assistants can do so much.
When people come to you from a virtual assistant perspective, what's the first thing that most people are looking for? Or is it just anything and everything in between?
Yeah, so I guess it depends on where the business owner's at that stage. And so some business owners are in the growth stage. And I know many of your audience are. And so in the growth stage, they're often looking for someone to help spread the word about their services, often through LinkedIn marketing, for example. We've got many, many clients whose virtual assistants help them with LinkedIn marketing. So it's about, getting the word out there. So the marketing side. Once the business is more established, sometimes it's then the operational side. It's I've got too much work. I can't handle it all. So it's administration. It could be level 1 tech support, customer service, that sort of thing. And then as the businesses get even more mature, sometimes they come to me and go, look, my business is great. I'm getting so many referrals, things are going well, but I want it to be even better. So now I want to up my marketing.
It's a bit of
so it goes around in a circle.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It would make sense if it goes out to sales and marketing, because most businesses, what are we looking for? More sales, more customers. That's generally where people stand. And then when it gets too busy, they go back to how do we fix our operations? Because now we've grown too big, now we can't support our customers, and then we fix that, and then we just go around in circles. And hopefully we get up the stairs as a business or as a business model. When it comes to marketing, what are the things that people are doing? Is it more that LinkedIn space, social sort of world, or where does it sort of stem?
Yeah. So I think like LinkedIn's huge. But obviously, it depends on the client's
Okay.
business. So our virtual assistants can work across, all of the main platforms. In fact, fun fact: the Philippines, people in the Philippines spend more time on social media than any other person in any country, apparently. So the virtual assistants come with quite a lot of knowledge, even the
Yes.
personal knowledge about social media. The key thing with getting someone to support you with social media or marketing in general is you need to own the strategy, and you actually need to create your core content. So do your own videos, write your own words, because your virtual assistant's amazing, but they're not the expert. Like, your people, your messages, and people want to hear from you. So you set the strategy, you create your content. Your virtual assistant does the rest. They distribute it, they make it look sexy, they do some video editing, stick it in Canva, and then spread the word out. So that's the key thing to remember, whatever platform you
That's a fun fact from the world of Arium. We learned that pretty quickly. So as we started as obviously a tech business building tech resources, so we're more in the operational space, and then we thought, let's add some marketing people to this fray. So we went the other way around. And then it's a very big lesson that, yes, we still need to own the strategy, still need to really drive the content direction. And then once people got really their head around what we were doing, it became a lot easier. So keeping people is also very important. So in terms of, if I'm going to start working with a virtual assistant, if it's in the marketing space, own the strategy, how do I work with them? Is it day-to-day I'm communicating? Is it Teams? Is it all of the above? What seems to work well?
So it's a really good question. So the communication is like the number one thing, the communication, the relationships. And that's what we really love supporting business owners and virtual assistants with, because you can get two intelligent people together, but if you're not communicating, like, it can make or break it. And so to communicate, what we usually do is we tap into the client's existing system, so in existing tech stack. And if you need something extra, we can make a recommendation. So, when your virtual assistant starts, I would recommend that the business owner have a chat with the virtual assistant daily, face to face on Zoom or whatever platform is your choice. And after that, the frequency actually reduces. We also suggest that virtual assistants send an end of day report, which just ties up the end of the day in a nice bow, which says, things I've worked on today, things I'm planning on doing tomorrow, and any outstanding questions. And then you need a messaging platform for those more, shorter interactions, which are like, hey, what do you think about this? Could you proofread this before I send it out, or whatever it is? And so what we do is we meet with the business owner and the virtual assistant weekly while all that is establishing, to make small tweaks in it, because we know small tweaks in the communication and the setup can make a big difference to the outcome.
I think that's important. And as you work with people in any remote environment, even within a one-on-one setting, communication is key. If we're not really communicating to the person, this is what we need, this is what we're thinking, or even looking at how we might portray that. When you're working with a virtual assistant, how much hands-on might they get? You mentioned strategy is not really something they might drive into, but are there people out there that would assist in that space?
Yeah, look, I think yes, but look, let's put it this way. I am a delegation queen. I love getting people to support me with things. I've got 12 virtual assistants just for my business. That's not even for the client's businesses.
Yes.
But I still set my own marketing strategy, and I still produce almost all of my own content. So, yes, I've got a number of people in my marketing team, and they'll come to me with ideas and all things like that. And so we've got a lot that we do to support you and your virtual assistant to like up that initiative side. But even then, I still have oversight. I don't just hire someone who goes, oh yeah, I've done marketing, and go, here you go, could you just market my business? Because the reality is I'm talking to the business owners. I know what their problems are more than anyone else.
That's fair. That's probably for most businesses that we're talking to today, is they wouldn't understand their business better than anyone else will. And in communicating that and getting them to learn that is difficult. Otherwise, you need to hire a top-end marketing manager to drive that and then get ownership of that particular item.
And And Andrew, that's a
Yeah.
model that some of our more established businesses actually use, because that's a really
Mm.
good point, where they have a marketing manager and then their marketing manager has a
Yes,
virtual
makes
assistant.
sense. Okay.
Mm.
In terms of once we have established one or two virtual assistants, finding good people can be challenging. How do you go about that? What's the process to actually find people in the first place?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. So we get hundreds of applicants a week. And I recently got the recruitment team to do an analysis to find out where they were coming from, and they're coming from all sorts of places. So we've got a really broad net. You know, we've got Facebook ads, online platforms, referrals from existing people. We've got like husbands and wives and cousins and all sorts of people, you know, working in the business. And so we've got a really wide net, and we're really getting a reputation over in the Philippines for being a, you know, place that people want to work. So we've got no shortage in people applying. And the challenge of the recruitment team is to filter those people and find the gems, but not only find the gems for that role. So, like, I was just talking to a client, and her role is very specific, and so, you know, we're finding a very specific person for her, and so it's that finding the needle in the haystack. That's the challenge my recruitment team have. So we've got 2 full-time people. That's all they do every
It's
single
full-time,
day.
just recruitment. Very well. So in that full-time recruitment, they obviously have a role in front of them. So they're not just recruiting for recruitment's sake, or are they just filling a backlog of people that potentially could be utilised?
So we do a bit of both. So we keep people close. So we keep we find superstars and we keep them close to us. But they also, you know, advertise for particular roles as well. So we've got some roles that are, you know, quite common in our business. And so for those roles, we might be able to tap into the people that are close to us. And then we get some, you know, weird and wonderful ones, which we can advertise specifically for. So it's
Weird
a bit
and
of
wonderful.
both.
What's a role that you've rolled out before that's been the most weird from your perspective?
Oh, the most weird. I don't know what the most weird is, but this one comes to mind just because it's today. This is what I love. I love learning about all the people doing cool things. Well, you know, we've got clients in warehousing, and we've got clients in e-commerce. And this new client, she does the in between bit, like the automation. I don't even understand it. Like the technical connection part in between. I'm like, I never even thought about that. So, like, that sort of thing is just so
integration
exciting.
sort of business between the both. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of businesses. You'd be surprised as to what people do out there. Now, once we have good people in a VA role, what's it look like to retain them? I find when we go into offshore markets, it can be quite competitive. There could be a number of opportunities that exist in those spaces, especially with great people. Like any industry, if we find great people, sometimes retaining them can be a little bit of a challenge if you're not keeping them in the culture, keeping them fulfilled. What do you advise people to do there?
So it's a great question. And like, obviously it's not a one size fits all. People are motivated by different things. We've got 2 people that I call them VA lovers. Their role is to love the client virtual assistants, and so sometimes they can detect things that the client might not even be aware of, like maybe the virtual assistant's feeling overwhelmed or whatever it is. And I think in the industry there's a tendency to go, the client is right, the business owner's right, and the virtual assistant's wrong. And we don't take that approach. We're just like, okay, you're feeling overwhelmed. Let's, you know, explore what we can do. Maybe there's strategies the virtual assistant can do, or maybe there's strategies the business owner can do, or a bit of both. So it's about detecting things before they become too big, because, you know, some virtual assistants just won't say anything to the business owner, and then just, you know, decide to go because it's easier than having a conversation. So we've got some strategies to detect it, but there's also preventative things. So I really recommend that your virtual assistant goes to your team meetings, that you have chats about things that are not work occasionally. We've got all sorts of things to help the virtual assistants feel part of our team and not just the client's team. So, for example, we had them meeting in person, and, you know, with Global Teams t-shirts, and we had like a whole team virtual party, and we run competitions, and we have conversations in Slack. And so to make them feel connected, instead of just like a robot, sitting at their computer.
I imagine it could be a bit like that, especially if they're remote working, so in their own homes, or is it office space? How does it work for you?
Yeah, so all our team work from their own homes, and so we do random stuff. So I just had the idea. So I've got like this little birthday horny thing, and I just like this morning I was sending messages to people that have been with us for a number of years, just like thanking them and whatever. And Christy, one of our virtual assistants, wrote back, "Oh my God, I'm going to share this on Facebook. Like, in the Philippines, no business, no owner would ever do that." And so it's me just being silly and like thanking them, individually. And so like it's, that's not going to, be it in a bit, but it's like just layers of things that we do to be able to support the virtual assistant and make them feel good.
It sounds like there's a key advantage. Obviously, we can try and do it on our own, but working with someone like yourself, you have that layer of you're looking after the people as well as the company and themselves. Because when you go and find, and we were in this boat when we found 2 people, we started remotely and we found it over years. We built a remote team. They got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then eventually had to bring them into an environment, a space as they're working on projects. It became a lot easier for us to manage, but it's probably bigger projects, not little tasks. There's slight variance there, I would imagine. But keeping them engaged, keeping them part of the culture, getting them involved in what you're doing on a day-to-day, or at least a monthly sort of catch-up with team and people across, if you're an Oz team, which probably most of your business would be, I imagine. I could be wrong, but yeah, I imagine they might be. Just getting involved in the business, not just the tasks and the to-do, so they understand what they're actually doing for the business and what part of their role it's actually delivering, and they feel more valuable and they feel more knowledgeable about what the business is and does. That I found quite beneficial when we're working with remote teams.
Yeah.
And if you got the bigger the team gets, you've obviously, I imagine you've been over to the Philippines and met people. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I haven't met all of our team, but when I went over to the Philippines, I met people in various areas, and my internal team and us. We spent a week at some villa that was owned by some Filipino actress, so the team were really excited. And we didn't work. Like people go over there and let's schedule training and stuff. It's like no. This is about just like hanging out together and having fun. It was just so cool. You get to learn like about your team, like in a different level.
Yeah, it's good to connect to them as people, because I think when they're virtual assistants, we're working with them just maybe as just work predominantly, and you find it a little bit difficult. So if you are going to go visit and spend time with them, connect to them as people. I think that's a good input for people to consider, and try and do that weekly, monthly with people too, because we get a little bit lost in the more people we have in our teams, the harder it is to connect.
Yeah. So we've got a new person in accounts. She's been with us, I don't know, for a month or so, and I haven't had much to do with accounts until last week. And I just said to her, and we've been chasing, late payers and, improving our processes around that. And I just said to her, I just realised I've never had a one-on-one chat with you. Like it's always in a group setting, and we're chasing people that are, late at paying, which is not fun at all. No. So we've organised to have a chat tomorrow. Just, I don't know what we're going to chat about, but it's not going to be about people paying us late. I can let you know.
Family, kids, what do you do in your spare time? It's all, no work. Not an exciting topic for anybody, yourself or her. Joyful. So now if I'm starting out, I want to go and find a virtual assistant, I can obviously go onto things like Fiverr, all those, freelancers.com. Why would I come to an organisation like yourselves? What sets you apart?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So, let's face it. If you do it yourself, it's going to be cheaper. But people come to us if they want support. So if they want support with the scoping, because so many people get the scoping wrong at the start. They want support with the scoping. They want support in, helping choose like the right person, because there's so many people out there. You might get hundreds of people, applying, like who's the right person, and then support with the communication ongoing and supporting your virtual assistant as well. So there's two types of people that want that support. One is like people who are just like super, mature in their business, and they're like, I don't have time. Like, I know it's worth spending, a little bit extra for this. And then there are other people who are like, this is my first time, or I've done it before and it hasn't worked. I think I need the extra support so I can make it work in my business.
Yeah,
so
just in both camps. But I think starting out is the most difficult part. So doing it for the first time is not as easy as it sounds. Like, just grab somebody and you spend time just burning through people, testing, understanding models. I think the valuable lessons you can learn from someone like yourself is how to approach and work with someone in an offshore environment. The culture's different. I think that's a big thing people need to get a grip on. We're in Australia, whereas in the Philippines or any other part of the world, their culture's different. How they communicate is different. How they say that they're maybe uncomfortable with things is, I'm not sure how the Philippines is, but I know the world of Nepal where we work is they don't like to say they're uncomfortable with something or something's wrong. So you've got to sort of crawl that out of them. So you've got to understand these things and you'll learn them over time. But I think someone like yourself will close the gap on how that might come together.
Yeah, and I think it goes both sides. So it's supporting the business owners to understand where the virtual assistants are coming from, but also supporting the virtual assistants to understand where the business owners are coming from. So one of our most popular training modules that my love team ran was 5 weird things about Australians. It's in Tagalog, so I don't really know what they said about us, but people loved it. So, it's about supporting the virtual assistants to go, what is my business owner thinking? Why do they want initiative? Or, my Filipino business owners didn't want that. So,
it's just closing the gap. But that's a fair point on that side, because I think we get stuck trying to understand them. They probably just they're as much trying to understand what the hell we're saying after that. Oh, classic. So if someone wants to find out, maybe reach out to you, how do they get in contact, Carmen?
Yeah, best way to check us out is globalteams.com.au. We've got a whole heap of resources there, so you can check it out and, explore what a virtual assistant can do for you, and how to communicate with them, and all that fun stuff. So
that sounds good. So if you're ever interested in a VA or want to learn more, reach out to Carmen and the team. We had a lot of contact over recent times, and great to talk to, very informative, liking the marketing emails that come out. So obviously there's a lot going on there, so there's a lot of information gets shared. So very good team that's really got their handle on how to work with VAs. If you're running 100 virtual assistants, you're doing something right. It's not an easy caper to get it right and actually serve and support businesses. So well done on that effort. But for anyone out there that's listening, from my perspective, virtual assistants or anyone in an offshore environment, yes, can be a great benefit to your business, but you need the right people. That's one of the biggest challenges when you go down this path. And like any business, we're only as good as the people we have in it. So engaging and attracting the right people is important, and having the support of someone like Carmen could be quite beneficial, especially if you're starting out. So thank you, Carmen, for joining us on Dev Ready Podcast. This will be short, sharp and sweet, but VAs, how they might support a business. So I really appreciate you sharing your experience.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for having me, Andrew.
Thank you.